Story time on how I found out my best friend was sleeping with my boyfriend while on the phone with me. Okay, so boom, let's jump right into it. So I was in what I later realized was a very bad relationship. But at the time, this dude was like a religion to me. I was crazy about him. My best friend at the time, sort of a mean girl, but I wasn't very good at making friends, so I put up with her being cruel to people. She would never do anything to hurt me, right? Anyways, that relationship started getting abusive, but I kept with it because, I was young and stupid. I convinced myself that if I tried a little harder, everything would just fix itself. It didn't, and after a few months, we broke up. Sometime later, I was at a party and my best friend was a bit drunk. And that's when she told me, while laughing the entire time, how she and my ex were sleeping with each other literally 2 weeks after we started dating. And it gets worse. Like and follow for part 2. Part 2 on how I found out my best friend was sleeping with my boyfriend while on the phone with me. Okay, so boom, like I said, my relationship with my boyfriend became abusive, so we broke up. Fast forward a couple weeks and I was at a party with my best friend and she was a bit drunk. She told me while laughing the entire time how she and my ex were sleeping with each other literally 2 weeks after I started dating him. Then she goes in details about how they would do the nasty while he was talking to me on the phone. Mind you, she's laughing while saying this. She went into detail on all the ways and places they used to sneak around to sleep with each other. And this was the girl I would cry to when my ex would abuse me. She didn't seem to have any idea that what she was saying was literally messed up. She actually thought that I would find it funny too. Safe to say that friendship ended. Be careful for fake friends out there, y'all.
Time about how I stole my best friend's boyfriend. So a little background information, I was 14 and in 8th grade. And we're gonna call my best friend Ashley. Ashley was really nice at first. She always had my back when I needed her. But then out of nowhere, she started being super rude to me. She turned into one of those pick-me girls that would always make fun of you in front of other guys, talk crap about you to the guy that you liked. Well, the one day I hear her talking shit about me whenever we were in class. And everybody could hear her. She was literally on the whole other side of the class. And I asked her, hey, why were you talking about me? She was like, no, I was talking about a different girl. And I had a pretty unique name, so I was like, who else in the school could you have been talking about? But I just brushed it off. Well, then we were in algebra class and I heard her talking shit about me again. How I do my makeup so bad and I can never get a boyfriend, like I'm so ugly and all that stuff. Well, she thought that I wasn't mad at her, so she came up to me the one day and was like, OMG, I have a boyfriend. Like for part 2. Part 2 about how I stole my best friend's boyfriend. So like I said, she would talk shit about me all the time. And I only confronted her that one time, so she thought that we were all good. So the one day before class starts, she runs up to me. She's like, oh my god, you'll never guess what? I have a boyfriend. She's like, he's so cute. He's really popular. He's on the football team. And I was like, girl, whatever. Nobody cares. Until I'm sitting in my first class of the day and I remember that she made out with my boyfriend last year. I forgave her, of course. But because karma was taking a little bit too long, I figured I had to do something about it myself. So my plan was to hook up with her boyfriend. Do I feel bad about it? Absolutely not. So I went to my school's football game, and guess who I saw? My best friend's boyfriend. She couldn't make it that night. She had something to do, so I had him all to myself. So I went up to him, I started flirting with him, and I was like, oh, you should break up with your girlfriend and date me instead. But then he was like, I thought you guys were best friends and I would never date you. Like for part 3 about how I stole my best friend's boyfriend. So like I said, I went to the football game. She wasn't there because she had something else to do. I went up to him. I started flirting. I told him that he should break up with her and date me instead. And I also said that she was a bitch and a whole bunch of other stuff. And he was like, why would you say that about your best friend? And he was like, I would never date you. And I had a feeling this would happen. So I had photoshopped a picture of her and this guy that she sits next to in her lab class. And I showed it to him and I was like, see, she's cheating on you. So he was pissed off. He gave me his number. And the next day he came over to my house. We cuddled, watched movies, we kissed. After 3 months, Ashley found out. We hadn't talked to each other since then, but now I am 16 in 10th grade and still with her ex-boyfriend. Funny thing though, the picture that I photoshopped with her and that guy, she's literally dating him now. So you're welcome, I guess. But anyway, she still goes around talking shit on me. I mean, who can blame her? I did steal.
Okay, so you guys know, a lot of you guys send me your stories and it's really hard for me to get through all of them, especially when some of them are really short. So I'm gonna start giving your confessions out like this. This way, myself and the community can help give you advice on what to do. Not saying it's going to be the best advice, but it's still advice. This past week, my boyfriend has been making comments about my weight. At first, I thought he was messing around because bullying is his love language, but then he made me promise that I would try to lose weight with him. He is bigger than me and he's a big guy. When I got upset, he tried to explain and said, "I'm scared if I get fit, you will get judged." So now I'm feeling extremely unloved and I don't know what to do.
How do I handle this as a mother? False accusations tore our family apart. I have been in a mother's worst nightmare for the last year. A year ago, almost exactly, my daughter accused my current partner of sexual assault. They incurred an investigation and charges laid. Court proceedings are happening just very slowly. However, her father kept me completely in the dark as to what the situation was. My daughter doesn't live with me. She lives full-time with her father, and apparently this happened when she was visiting me for the summer. I have been pursuing court action to be able to talk to my daughter, but it's a slow process. My ex is fighting tooth and nail to keep me from contacting her, with his justification being that I'm still in a relationship with the person that allegedly assaulted her. But basically, through legal proceedings, we are finally able to get her side of the story, and it is absolutely untrue. I can't go into details, but the set of circumstances laid out in her statement absolutely never happened. My take on it is that she saw a video on TikTok or YouTube about someone else's experience, saw all the attention and support they were getting, and decided to make up a story. Direct quote, "My friend and I saw how sympathetic people were being and said, hey, let's get in on this." Unfortunately, her father saw whatever it was she was doing and immediately cut contact with me and went to the police. My ex has hated my current partner since the beginning, but I'm at a complete loss for what to do now. I'm the one that is going to have to testify that there is no way that situation happened, while she is surrounded by people that believe her absolutely. Even though I know for a fact that it never happened how she said, the idea of having to get up there and call her a liar is heartbreaking. I feel like it is something that neither of us will recover from. I'm coming to the point where I am soon going to have to actually talk to my daughter about it, and have no idea how I'm going to address the fact that she blatantly lied, and that it has completely destroyed our lives. My partner lost access to his own daughter since his charges prevent him any contact with anyone under 16. I haven't been able to talk to my daughter in a year. We've lost friends and family and are going to be out tens of thousands of dollars in legal fees before it's over. I love my daughter, but I'm also intensely angry at her for the horror and trauma we have gone through. I recognize that she might not understand the consequences of her decision and that her father would have been inclined to pursue this even if she tried to tell him it wasn't true. But I just can't disregard all the damage she has caused. And for the record, no, I'm not trying to cover for my partner. If I had any doubt about it actually being true, I would be in a very different place. I wouldn't be willing to testify if I thought there was any possible way it could be true. Oh my god, this made me sad. Am I wrong for no longer bringing dinner for my wife after she claimed I never cook? I work at a nice restaurant as a cook, and every day when I get off from work, I always cook dinner for my wife and our 2 kids, 8 male and 6 female, at the restaurant before coming home. The only time I don't cook for them are on the weekends when I'm off, and that's when my wife does the cooking. We usually trade off who makes breakfast and lunch for the kids every other day, but for the week, I'm always the one bringing home dinner. Weekends, we sometimes get together with friends and they come over to the house. My wife usually cooks and I set the table and clean afterwards. One of her friends, Stacy, asked how come I never do any of the cooking and is it always on my wife all the time making meals for the kids, especially when I'm a cook myself. Instead of correcting her, she sort of laughed and went along with making jokes about, you know how it is. And Stacy laughed because her ex-husband was the same way. And then sort of ripped on me in a joking way how I better bug up before I become an ex too. My wife just said, well, let's see if he actually listens and starts cooking for once, joking about all the time I spend in the kitchen at work but won't do the same at home. It really pissed me off. I'm not the husband that just doesn't do anything after I'm home from work. I cook food for her and the kids at work, and on top of that, I make separate dishes for each of them. What she wants and what the kids want. All that after standing on my feet all day. We talked about it once they left because I don't appreciate being told I'm not doing something she knows for a fact I do. She didn't want to apologize for it because it was all just to be a funny joke. Even after telling her about how it hurt my feelings being put down like that. My wife said she felt like she had to go along with the joke so there wouldn't be any awkward vibes. But I said fine, if she can't apologize for something that was mean, just so she could laugh along with her friends, then I won't keep doing something she already claims I don't do. She's mad that I'm refusing to feed her over what happened instead of letting it go, but I can't help but feel mad about being made fun of like that when I'm busting my ass to provide for my family and still making sure they have food on the table every evening. She just thinks I'm an asshole for how I'm reacting when she's already tired at the end of the day, but still having to make food for herself. So, am I the asshole?